Welcome to Charts Today. My name is David Linton, and today's edition for Monday, the 14th of August, comes to you from London. And we start, as always, looking at the dollar index. The dollar has been bearish again on the index below the cloud in the short term, so we are pulling back. The key thing is, will we go lower than this low? It's always what we're looking for in the Dow theory, and at the moment, that's the big question. We'd be bullish again above this sort of 93.75 level, especially if we can break that sort of resistance that's there short term. But for the moment, the dollar's looking bearish again, and that means the euro is looking strong again. So short term, we're back above the cloud. We do have this downside target now activated. So if we went lower than this 117 level, then that would be bearish again for the euro. But for the moment, the euro is looking very strong. Japanese yen has been strengthening against the dollar. This is dollar weakness. Dollar just strengthening slightly now, so that's just coming off the bottom. And sterling against the dollar just teetering along at this 130 level. No real direction here. We do have a downside target not yet activated, and we are finding support on this short-term chart. Looking against the euro, sterling did make new lows on Friday, so that is playing out, and we are just seeing this this sort of sub 110 level, which we did see briefly on Friday. Against the Swiss franc, sterling has fallen last week as well, but just recovering slightly. But we have activated a downside target here of about 4.5%. And against the Australian dollar, sterling is fairly flat. The S&P 500 did have a bad week last week on North Korea, and we're seeing here on Friday it just held steady really. The Nasdaq also just recovered slightly on Friday. So still looking bullish medium and long term, but short term is bearish. Looking at the Dow Jones, it's actually held its short-term bullish position with a lagging line above the cloud, but again has been selling off. And the Russell 2000 has been looking very bearish, and in fact we're just seeing the medium-term chart just turning bearish there. So the breadth isn't quite there for the US market. We are seeing the futures markets looking quite strong, up 0.4% on the S&P and the Nasdaq up 0.5%. So it does suggest that we will start the week a little bit better. The FTSE 100 index again had a bad week last week, falling off a cliff really, down 1% on Friday. So it's bearish short term, and the medium term chart is starting to just look a little bit bearish as well, as is the FTSE 250. So just a bit worrying for the UK market, and the DAX also looking very bearish, hitting new lows there. That stronger euro having an impact. Nikkei also hitting new lows, stronger yen having an impact there. Hang Seng recovering slightly, but it was below the cloud last week, so short term still bearish, and the same for the Shanghai market. So stock markets putting in a bit of a recovery, but they've got a long way to go before we can say that the short-term recovery is back to bullish. And the Sensex, much the same picture. The Australian market also quite mixed. Brent crude down this morning, so we're just seeing here that we are just bearish below the cloud. And WTI also just looking a little bit bearish. US natgas is back at $3, so that's looking quite a bit better in a bullish short-term trend there. And copper is also looking a little bit better as well, but it has turned bearish again, as has heating oil. In fact, most commodities still looking pretty volatile. Coffee here just below the cloud, and also if we look at cocoa, we're seeing there just below the cloud as well. Going straight to gold, we see gold is holding its bullish position. Interestingly, we're now locking this column, so that's going to give us a new thrust target, some 6% upside to 1367 if we can on this pullback then go higher. So that's quite key. Not quite negating this downside target yet, but looking vulnerable there as well. Silver is actually up this morning, so that's looking stronger as well. US Treasury yield sitting at 2.21%. Apple looking still bullish above the cloud. Google still bearish below the cloud, as is Amazon. Facebook just turning a little bit bearish there below the cloud, so not looking quite as bearish as Amazon and Google, but not as good as Apple. And Microsoft just getting back above the cloud, so looking a little bit better there, although we do have these downside targets now hanging over us. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.